Hi, welcome back to Blab.Cafe. This is a place where you can introduce your business products and or services. We're talking about Blab.Cafe 100, and I've got 200 days on Blab, and this is where you introduce your business. And I've got Smart Market, otherwise known as
Ellsworth.
Pace Ellsworth. Now that's a cool name. I like that. Pace
Thanks.
Ellsworth. That's not a name you hear every day.
No, it's two last names really,
Yeah.
both British. Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of products do you have? It's a pretty cool tool, I got to tell you. I've been
Yeah.
looking at it really close.
I've been involved in financial planning for the past 4 years, mostly on the marketing side, and mostly in older traditional forms of marketing like events and radio, AM and FM radio, which is all that is still around. There's still a big space for it. Obviously, it's huge, but we're excited to bring this to the next generation and go into live streaming, go into more social media, and get the word out that way. And I transitioned from working with retirement planners primarily and promoting them in their fields to promoting automation tools that help people with their personal finances in the stock market. So the one that we're really, really pushing right now is called Cool Trade, and we're trying to build a smart market of a community of automated investors. So people that just turn their money on autopilot. Yes, thank you for sharing. Our page is smartmarketshow.com, and we basically are focusing 100% right now on the benefits of this Cool Trade system. Basically, what it does, it's very simple. You put some money into a brokerage account just like you would at Scott Trade or E-Trade or TD Ameritrade or any one of these companies. We happen to use one a lot called AutoShares, which is only $1 per trade, whereas most of those other guys are $5 to $10 for every trade. So that gets expensive. It gets really expensive, and there are other fees besides that that day traders pay. So this basically, you put some money into that brokerage account, and this software tool on a Windows machine just connects to your account through an API and then executes a series of rules. Those rules will just say, okay, I want to look at this stock or that stock. I want to buy it, and when it goes up, I want to sell it. That's basically it. If it goes down a little bit more, I'll buy a little bit more, and if that goes up, I'll sell that. So it just automatically executes these trades for you, so you just make money doing nothing. And so we have an account that just goes up and down and up and down. Yeah, you could be out live streaming your entire mundane life while it's just at home, just doing this for you. In fact, we're running ours on a remote desktop, so we can access it from any machine.
Yeah,
it's just running off of a server system that someone in Queensland, Australia, is managing on a server that's running in New York. So it's a great system, and I wish I could share my screen. I'll probably set up a Manycam tool so you could see. Yeah. But it's pretty fantastic. So what we have right now, there are a couple different strategies out there that are pre-built into this machine. So anybody can get it, just turn it on, and then just pick a strategy that matches the dollar amount that they want to trade. And they can start out simulating and just get a feel for the product first, and then they can turn it onto their live brokerage account and then just watch it roll. And it trades a very conservative strategy, keeps most of your money on the sidelines in case the stocks go down a lot. So it's prepared for the crash, and it allows you to retain a lot of your value and gain as it's going down. If you want to go over to our site again and scroll a little bit to the right in the middle of the page, there's a little chart that just shows they're right there. If you just scroll down just a tiny bit, right there. You can't see it too well, but in the snippet that everybody can see, basically it just shows you what happens if a stock goes up and a stock goes down. In a long-term trend, What people don't realize is that stocks wiggle up and down a lot. Every single day, they're wiggling up and down.
Yeah.
And almost any stock has sort of one jump a day. Some stocks have one big jump a week. Some stocks have tons of big jumps every single day. So you have a tool like this that just goes in there, watches that stock like a hawk, and if the stock goes up or it goes down, there are opportunities on a daily basis or a weekly basis for it to get in low and go up high. We never, ever sell at a loss, ever. And that's just how our strategies are designed. So we'll hold on to something if the price is going down. We'll just save more cash on the side to buy another 100 shares at a lower price. So that's basically how it works. It just does it automated. And so you just go out and you just do whatever you need to do, your full-time job. You go out and spend time with your family. And users can share their strategies. That's what we're so excited about now, making this a worldwide social phenomenon. And people can share their successful strategies with each other.
Yeah, I like the idea of it because it's because most of the automation and tools that I've seen in the past. Get a bit of an echo.
There's 7 of them.
Yeah, some of the automated tools that I've seen in the past were automated with the little candlesticks, and you could follow those different candlesticks, and they were saying if you have a predominance of this, or if a candlestick looks like it's growing this direction, you need to do something about it. And the problem with that is if you would have to really go in there and study this software a lot before you feel comfortable even doing it, because you could lose a pretty good substantial chunk of money in a very short period of time if you're not very comfortable with the tool. And I've heard these guys talk about day trading and penny stocks and all this stuff, and I'm thinking, well, how much money could be made? And these guys are saying, oh, I made like $500 today. And they say, well, that might be a good day for them because they're only, they're actually, trading a very large volume of very inexpensive stocks, So
yeah,
so it's
that's true. So yeah, and then that's a big problem. We've got we basically have our competitors are other. There are a few other bots out there that do that. But they're seasonal. They trade on a very specific strategy that requires a lot of rules and tons of expertise. You either have to be a programmer or an expert trader to know how to use them, or you have to do both. And so that's a big problem. This is something that's built for the average consumer, and it's as simple as you get into a stock, and if it goes down, you buy. If it goes up, you sell. And then it just does that forever. And so it doesn't require any complicated rules, and you can pick the stocks yourselves, or you can just let it pick for you based on certain filters. And you just make sure that the strategy that it's designed to execute matches your account balance, so you're not overextending your funds, so you're never using all of your cash.
So if you basically set those parameters, there's really no reason why you would have to worry once those parameters were set, right? I mean,
not really.
It's almost like what's the old word for it? Like stop loss or something like that, or
yeah. I mean, your biggest risk is that you buy a little bit of stock, and the value of that stock goes down, and then you'll buy a little bit more, and then the value of that stock goes down too. And so what we see in general is that there's a risk of maybe your account balance going down 5 to 10% in the first few months, on its way to gaining 50% to 100% over the course of a year or two. So those types of returns are pretty phenomenal. You trade a very short-term loss for a huge long-term gain. And sometimes people don't even see those short-term losses. If they get in and the market goes up, then they realize this huge profit, and or at least if their portfolio that they're looking at goes up, maybe they're looking at one stock, maybe they're doing a popcorn strategy of 10 different stocks and waiting for which one to pop. So yeah, the risk is you'll lose maybe a little bit in the short term, but you're never trading at a loss. You're just holding on to those stocks that are down, and you're just trading more at the bottom. You're just trading wherever the price is, and it's just trading for you. It just runs automatically.
I like the idea of that. Well, what I'm going to do is, did you want me? Was there any videos that were on the website that you wanted me to actually run and incorporate into this video?
Yeah, if you could turn on the at the very top of our page, there's one intro video for Cool Trade, and that'd be great, because then that's something that real quick. I think it's a minute and a half, and people can see how this works in general.
I'll try to squeeze it in there so it's a little bit more focused on the page.
Yeah, that works pretty well.
You're one of the millions worldwide who are stuck with a stagnant retirement account. If you're tired of seeing little to no net gain from your investments, if you've ever wanted to trade stocks that were intimidating, you owe it to yourself to get educated about robotic trading. Cool Trade has been hailed as the only fully automated trading system which doesn't require programming that's available to the general public. Cool Trade works with the following brokers: CD Ameritrade, MB Trader, Interactive Brokers, FXCM, and eTrade. Cool Trade runs on your personal computer and connects to your online brokerage. It looks at the market, recognizes buy-sell opportunities based on your selected strategy, and goes about executing those trades on your behalf in stealth mode all day without you having to babysit it. It's three-step trading. Run Cool Trade, select a strategy, walk away. With 7% of all stock trading being done by computers, it's crucial to have a robotic trader on your side. Thanks to Cool Trade, Main Street can now compete with Wall Street. Had enough of all this talk and you're ready to get rolling? Great. Come right back. The Cool Trade Tour is next.
Awesome. Thanks, Donald.
Well, how did it look on the screen? The audio came through all right?
Yeah, I think it came through all right. I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch devices and see how this is on my phone.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to ask you to do is go ahead and add your links to the chat bar, and we will extract those. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and say thanks for stopping by. And Pace, let's see. What I'm going to do is go ahead and put this one in the can. Thanks for stopping by, Pace.
Thank you so much.
Hi, welcome back to Blab.Cafe. This is a place where you can introduce your business products and or services. Today I have Noah Weeder in the room. How you doing, Noah?
Good, Donald. Thank you.
So what kind of products or services are you offering?
Well, Donald, I'm an entrepreneur. I've got a lot of different businesses, but I'll tell you about a couple of them real quick. I own a company run a company called Searchbug, searchbug.com. We are a data provider. We find information and help customers or help businesses. We're more B2B than B2C, but we help customers. Our customers get the data that they need for their customer list, keeping customer lists clean. A lot of data appends, name, phone, address, all that kind of stuff. Online web form verification tools. Make sure if you're have an opt-in on your website that, we can verify the information so that people are leaving you real information. A lot of anything having to do with data. That's what Searchbug does. Names, numbers now is our tagline, and that's what we're all about. And then I run another company called ATM Depot, when we teach people how to own and operate ATM machines all over the U.S. And Canada. And I've got a book out that I just published on Amazon. It's called The Amazing Money Machine. And I wrote up all my 20 years experience in the book because people call us all the time asking us how the business works. And what we do is, instead of just telling them over the phone all the time, I started recording my conversations and had somebody transcribe them. And then I just put it into a table of contents and created a book that helps the people understand the business better before spending so much time with somebody on the phone. And lastly, I run the internet, the Encinitas. It's a town in Southern California, just outside of San Diego. It's called Encinitas Digital Marketing Meetup. And on meetup.com, we've got about 400 and change some odd members. And basically, we give back and teach people how to do digital marketing for their small and local businesses.
Okay.
So that sums it up quick enough, I hope.
Little ball of wax right there. Okay, so one of the questions about the ATM machines, though, is that something that you've been working on for a long time? I mean, what's that? I mean, how many machines do you have and manage machines yourself?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. There's three parts to an ATM machine: who owns it, who operates it, and who loads it. Operating mean take care of it, maintenance, and all that. And we do any or all three. What we do is an IAD is called an independent ATM deployer, and we teach them how to own and operate. It might be a guy, an ATM machine now is like $2,500 in the U.S. delivered and installed. So if we tell our people, look, you got $2,500 in the bank making what 0.1% interest. The worst ATM machine that we have makes about a 20 to 25% return annually. So that's what we teach. And we do, I built up a company in the 90s and we sold it to a big Canadian bank called CIBC. And then they sold it a couple of years later. And I launched out again on my own. We built up 5,000 boxes back in the 90s, got some venture capital. And now we're running, a couple of thousand machines. We've got, several hundred here in the San Diego area. And we've got about 200 IADs that we teach and help manage their business. And we pay up to 5 different people. So we do their books and not do their books, but we do all the payouts. So they don't have to keep track of who's making what money and sending it every which way. We take care of all that for them. And we have, toll-free support numbers and everything they need basically to get business in a box.
Now I have a question that relates, it's somewhat related to that, but you've seen the rise or the slow rise of Bitcoin. And I've even seen that where they're actually building Bitcoin ATMs.
Yes, I actually helped Evan Rose build, look at the hardware for the first BitcoinATM.com. And, they were rolling out here in the U.S. and Canada, but the U.S. recently shut down a bunch of Bitcoin machines. So it's not as popular in the U.S. as it is in other countries right now. I think there was a country that didn't they just validate the currency? I was just reading something because I get all these news feeds in that financial business, obviously. And there was one country, and if it slips me, but it's starting to happen where they see that this is a actual digital currency. So, but we're not doing anything with it yet, just because it's too difficult in the U.S. with all the regulations, all the networks, all the security, and they're just not doing it yet. So, okay. But I think Bitcoins are a great idea.
Yeah. Democratic money. Yeah. Well, Denmark here, where I live, is in Denmark, so we are basically paperless. We're, Denmark is going to eliminate currency completely. Yeah. So there will be no more ATMs to speak of. You'll be doing everything with your card.
Well, they're coming out. They're coming out with ATMs that actually use a smartphone here in the U.S. someday. The bank, one of the big banks just came out where you can use their app, tell it how much currency. I don't think the U.S. is going to be able to go. There was just a study done. I'll be publishing a blog here in the next couple of weeks. Cash payments are still the number one payment method here in the U.S.
Yeah, but it's a stone age, man. It'll take some years, but it'll go paperless eventually. It has to. Yeah,
that's where you and I will probably maybe in other countries, but you and I've been doing this business too long, and there's too many unbanked people in the U.S. There's people with no bank accounts, people that can't get bank accounts. It's too.
And that's why it makes sense for them to be paperless.
Yeah, but see,
if you go to countries like Africa and stuff where the economy is so harsh, everybody carries around mobile phones, and this is their bank account. Everything is done via mobile device. So yeah, there's no.
I've been to some conferences, and there's a debate on both sides. There's proponents of both, and one of the largest ATM companies in the world is in Texas, and they just finished this big study. I don't see the U.S. going paperless for several decades.
Oh, it's going to happen a lot faster than that. It's going to have to.
Yeah, we'll agree to disagree on that. So no problem there.
No,
We'll
but I
see
mean,
what happens. I mean, nobody can predict the future, so I don't know. But I just, it's just I know that Kodak, went out of business because they invented the digital camera and hid it. But there are a lot of different payment methods coming out. If Bitcoin takes a hold here in the U.S. and they make it a legal currency, that might. But there's always going to be a need for cash. People are stashing it. People are keeping it. The U.S. government would love to get rid of cash. So it just depends upon who our next president is and the next one after that, whether or not, we go cashless sooner or later. It's going to have a lot to do with it, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's, I don't know. Well, when you think about the cost of transport of cash, that's where the biggest problem is. Here in Denmark, I think the cost of transport was something like 22 to 23 øre per crown to transport the cash. And that's one of the reasons why they wanted to get rid of it, because it was just too expensive to transport.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. It's just on the other end of it. I look at merchants and how much they're paying to accept other forms of payment. Cash is the cheapest form of payment. So in this economy that we have in the U.S., where merchants want to accept cash, there are still millions of businesses that don't take anything but cash here in the U.S. I mean, you can't. There's a barbershop right down the street from me. You can't pay for a haircut without cash.
Yeah,
and then there's millions of businesses
that don't want to claim it on their taxes too.
Well,
that's the obvious way.
And not only that, but some businesses, but waiters and waitresses would prefer to get the tips in cash, and nail places want to pay their manicurists in cash. It's going to be a big thing if they ever try and get rid of cash here in the U.S. Like I said, I go to these conferences and there's just so much back and forth, and it's on both sides of the fence.
It's like the person in the chat bar said, even like in Sweden, it's Denmark is going paperless, but like in Sweden, it's like what he says too. There's no theft, there's no robbery, because there's nothing for them to steal. If somebody steals your card, you just call up your phone, you call up your bank and say, hey, close my card, give me a new one.
Yeah, I agree with that, but
you don't lose any money.
Yeah, but the cost to do that to the banks and the credit card industry, the cost is far in excess of what it costs to do a cash transaction.
I don't have a credit card. I have a debit card.
Okay, but it's the same thing.
There's no charge.
No, I'm talking about if your card gets stolen, the work that is required by the networks, by Visa, MasterCard, the banks, the amount of money that they spend sending out new cards, dealing with the fraud is astronomical. It's even a debit point of sale, when you use an ATM or debit card and you have to enter your PIN, if somebody shoulder surfs and steals your PIN or steals your card. See, in the US, we're not EMV yet. So once we get to EMV, then you've got a whole nother issue of people trying to hack those things. So I think we're a long ways away. We're selling more ATMs, and there's more cash transactions today than there was 15, 20 years ago in the US. There's more cash transactions than there was a decade ago today.
More people.
Well, sure, more people, but there's also more transactions happening that, it's interesting. It's a great, I love talking about that, because there's so many points of view and we don't really know what's going to happen. And
I just like the idea of not getting robbed.
Yeah, well.
Thanks for stopping by the Blab.Cafe. This is Blab.Cafe number 100. Feels good to have it under my belt now. We'll be back on tomorrow at 9 p.m. my time. That's for Danish time. That is roughly 5 hours previous to now. So if you look at your clock and count back 5 hours from now, count backwards. That's what time I start. Thanks for joining. We'll see you tomorrow.